evidence of Trump intentionally letting go of money.
Have a good time, everybody?
A villain in a Batman comic.
You know, the dumbest thing said in 2018,
and Secretary Clinton have fully disavowed this individual.
And we trust her completely.
Well, we sure as hell don't trust our...
First of all, Congresswoman, what are Mr. Trump's high crimes and misdemeanors?
Late night shows are the lowest of anything you can find on television. They are noticeably unfunny and concerningly hypocritical. The fact that they can't even make a joke without involving Donald Trump or a laughing track makes me feel pretty sad for society. Most people agree with this notion that late night shows S-U-C-K. These people call Trump the racist idiot who is too stupid to run our country when Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon were both caught doing blackface. That dark side of television as we know it is dry. So dry that the cups you see on their desk probably don't even have water. Everything is a prop, even to the guests, just to promote their identical dry opinions and dry products. Every time I enter the fucking room and see Jimmy Fallon, I want to cough up my lungs, probably full of sawdust just from watching their shows. Their only sense of funny or satire is by making hateful comments that leave me sitting there in confusion. I don't ever see the comedy aspect of their snarky comments, and I don't even know how they got a laughing track to find them funny in the first place. Every time I turn on MSNBC, it's The Late Night Show with Guy Person, who is here to call Trump a retard. But the thing is that if you take a look, these shows are all hate-driven, nothing else. Alright, so check these clips out and see if they're actually funny or uncomfortably mean or hateful. By the way, I know that sounds really naive, but it's not entertaining.
CNN released the letter that Obama left for Trump on his inauguration day. Apparently, the letter includes specific pieces of advice urging Trump to guard democratic institutions and traditions. Really? Isn't it super obvious that that's what the president is supposed to do? That's like leaving a note for the babysitter that says, Zoe's bottle's in the fridge. By the way, Zoe is a human toddler. Human toddlers require food and water, or they die.
Okay, I hope you see what I mean. I'm assuming you did not laugh, but sat there thinking, gee, why need to act like an edgy teenage girl pumped up with hormones and dark heavy metal? Because, ladies and gents, it brings views. Yes, breaking news. Being a prick and an asshole brings you views. Unbelievable. Because if you want to make it in today's landscape, you're gonna need recognition. Being obnoxious brings you recognition. But hey, you know what they say, all publicity is good publicity, right? Well, sometimes. Here's the issue when all these people make these jokes and whatnot. Nobody can tell the difference. What do I mean by that? Okay, I'll ask you two questions. First, name at least two of these people. If you were me before this video, you probably would only know like 1 or 0 names. But if you quickly Google searched these people...
Great job, fucking genius. Go brag in the comment section, you twat.
And second, out of these 3 people, Jimmy Kimmel, James Kimberly Corden, and some generic random dude I couldn't find the name of, who said this joke? Trump said he would have to totally destroy North Korea. I guess that means Trump will run for president of North Korea. I will give you 5 seconds to come up with an answer. Done? Okay, the person who said that joke was... all fucking 3 of them.
Here's what people are talking about, you guys. President Trump gave his big speech at the UN General Assembly today, and at one point he threatened to totally destroy North Korea. Yeah, he said he has a good plan to do it, too. He's going to run for president of North Korea. So that's what he's already got the hash made.
During the speech, Trump threatened to, quote, totally destroy North Korea. Which I know, well, I think can only mean one thing. Guys, it means he's going to run for president of North Korea.
Trump also said during his address that if North Korea continues working on its nuclear program, the U.S. will have no choice but to totally destroy North Korea. Oh my God, Trump is going to run for president of North Korea.
Alright, you get my point. They're all clones and suck ass. But what if I told you late night shows didn't always suck? What if I told you not even 30 years ago there was actually a time where families and friends of all shapes and sizes came together to actually watch a late night show? If I said people do that today, people would call me a clinically insane madman. But it was true. People would see their favorite characters and comedians with their favorite hosts. For example, now I'm gonna admit, I thought late night shows were kind of a new thing, but after doing a lot more research, I pretty much managed to come up with this. Okay, so this man right here is Johnny Carson, who used to be a late night show host. On the left side, we have Robin Williams, a famous actor who was known for his explosive comedy and personality. Unfortunately, Robin Williams later would die of suicide, but we all know he was a great actor nonetheless. And here's why. As you can see, Carson says his own jokes and is partnering with Williams to make that entertaining appearance. The thing that strikes me about Robin Williams is that he says another funny joke before you can even finish laughing. He is constantly pulling you in, phrase after phrase, and he jumps and moves around and makes it impossible for him not to be visible or disappear. All these small aspects just trash through the window and unheard of in today's time. But there's the thing. They were entertaining. Robin Williams and Johnny Carson really would work together, either by laughing with or at each other or by plopping jokes that just fit in well. But when comedians now have no sense of humor, Donald Trump is their immediate go-to. Reality TV is probably the most problematic content people see. Its popularity is debatable, but its quality is definitely not. It is poorly acted, spewed up, asinine bullshit. It's the trashiest shit you could ever find. Late night doesn't compare. Fucking 2009 YouTube tutorials, those were Marvel movies compared to reality TV. It's not really a bold statement if everyone agrees with me. It drives the viewer down this bottomless pit of never-ending drama that is, well, never resolved. You know, reality TV reminds me of cigarettes. You have one and you like it. It gives you short-term enjoyment, but after enough, you suddenly get addicted. You cannot go a fat minute without having a cigarette. It becomes addictive and short-term. Not to mention, just like cigarettes, reality TV is also horrible for your health. They are cheap storylines based on cheap characters, and don't even counter me and say, well, Razor, how are they cheap stories if they're real? It's reality TV, dumbass. You know what? Leave. Just fucking leave. Anyways, continuing on, these shows are always very short term. I believe they have it like this so if someone watches a show later in the season, they can still get hooked. It's almost embarrassing to watch these rich people whine, complain, and act while people mindlessly watch until the end of time. Seriously? Do people not have lives or something? The only entertaining or interesting thing about these shows are the fights, alcoholism, and drama. Breakups, massive parties with massive amounts of alcohol, and tons of, well, I mean, hatred. I can practically feel the frustration and hatred when their butler fucks up something or their boyfriend speaks to another woman. Shit, man, their lives are pretty tough. But those are the things that keep people watching, at least some things. Acting obnoxious gets attention. Remember? The people working with and at these production studios know exactly what they are doing. Hell, they might even hate reality TV as much as I do. But they do realize it's a cycle of incoming revenue. At the top, we have you. Then you start watching. You get entertained off of the bullshit they throw at you. Once finished, you need to know what happens next after that crazy incident, and the cycle repeats. But back to criticizing reality TV's quality. All you can see from reality TV is its constant nag and loop for hate. It almost drives people off the edge, which leads back to my cancerous, poorly thought out, ingenious cycle theory. I mean, hate is one thing, but the drama and drinking is another. I find it all very stupid how these people actually live. Like, seriously, how are they alive? Getting wasted every 5 fucking seconds, all the stressful drama being forced out for your viewing. How have they not had a stroke yet? Okay, I got a question for you. Out of all the media outlets, how many are privately owned if you had to take a guess? With all the division, you most likely think it's a coliseum of news channels trying to bite the bastard next to them. So, take a guess. Who owns who? Well, After searching on the very cursed page 2 of Google, I found this. According to Common Dreams, which sounds really fucking shady, not gonna lie, this is the total amount of companies that own media outlets that you watch and read today. 90% of the United States media is controlled by 5 media conglomerates. That was in September 2019. Pretty recent. Still fucking scary. These corporate overlords have their little pawns fight tooth and nail just to cause a little bit of controversy for that sweet paycheck. Reminds me of people here. Instead, there is no corporate overlord, just a corporate witch. And to be honest, it wasn't easy for me to spot out or even have the thought these media companies all owning so many outlets. They're all pawns. No sugarcoating the fact. I mean, the fuck up from these media corporation gods is the workplace environment. They purposely let them say outrageous things since ratings have dropped as time went on. What are we to do, they say? Act obnoxious. It brings views. Want some insight into what I mean? Read some more from the article I probably forgot to cite. This article also states how shit it's like working over there. Higher-ups would never offer editorial staff direct input on content. That's what the executive and middle management were for. Would these managers confide to their staff that the big guns gave them a certain direction? No. Whatever it was, they would present it as their own, and it would be adopted. So that sort of brings me to my next point. All these obnoxious eye-grabbing claims push agendas, false info, and worst of all, tells people what they want to hear, not what they have to hear, which is part of the downfall of journalism, but that will be in a separate video most likely. This creates the mindset that is currently quite literally fucking burning America right now. I am right. My opinion is the right one. All other opinions are inferior. I know that if we keep continuing down this spiral of a trend, we're all screwed. Just screwed. But another thing to add on to the mind games the media feeds you, they make it seem like it's some sort of sports game. If this law passes, we're all going to die. Translation: if the Giants don't win the big game against the Eagles, we're all sad. Let's be real here. Majority of legislation in America needs to be looked at very closely with skepticism, but that 10% of random bills that get passed are usually the equivalent of a blank sheet of paper that one side sees as a giant threat to their fucking existence. But the anchors in front of your eyes most likely don't give a flying frisbee-shaped turd, because being obnoxious brings you the sweet, savory views. But traveling back to my incorrectly sized non-double-spaced paragraph we all totally remember, let's add something to it. The sports team outlet you watch that acts for views, putting false accusations about legislation and politician, makes the fine majority of people that watch them believe them. How do we know this to be true? Well, as the war hero that killed Adolf Hitler once said, if you tell a big enough lie and tell it frequently enough, people will eventually believe it. Okay, all jokes aside, people will never stop falling into this trap. To sum it all up, this whole sports team incentive creates a false illusion in people's heads that the suit and tie old men behind the desks are always correct. Even if they aren't old balding men, they all still do it. But that brings me to another point. People now forget this. The media isn't an option you blindly give your faith to. It's an outlet you look at with skepticism. Quote me on that one, because that is probably the smartest thing I've ever said in the past 4 months. So hear me out. No matter what shit someone says, there are always two sides. Look at them with skepticism, don't give faith to them. Besides me, I'm always correct. Because if I recall, these are 5 corporate overlords talking to you in reality.